Twelfth Night marks the official end of Christmas and ushers us into carnival season. But here in Louisiana, we send Papa Noel packing with a delicious tradition borrowed from the French, a king cake. The idea was introduced to Louisiana sometime in the late 19th century, and it became arguably one of the most notable recipes defining Louisiana's culture. You can find the pastry at any local bakery. It's usually the oval-shaped cake, draped in frosting and yellow, purple, and green sprinkles. But lately there seems to be a trend where bakers and chefs are deviating from icing-laced cinnamon cakes and going for something more savory.
And I kind of like to twist it a little bit. There we go.
That signature king cake shape.
Shane Castile is the owner of The Heavenly Donut, a Baton Rouge-based bakery that specializes in all things sweet. But during Carnival, Castile sets aside the donut glaze to satisfy his customers' cravings for king cake. It's one of the busiest seasons at the shop, and Castile definitely puts in the long hours to sustain it.
My day starts at about 11 o'clock at night.
11 o'clock at
Yes.
night? For a bakery? That's insane.
That's right. First thing I do is I start my dough. So I put my dough on, put it mixing, and while that's mixing, I can get, there's other things that make my donut glaze, get my fryer ready, get my proofer on, and once it's finished making, I let it rise, and then I'm making little things like apple fritters, stuff like that until it rises. And when it rises, the first thing I do is I make donuts. So we get all the donuts ready for the bakery. And then after that, we can start rolling out king cakes.
So how many king cakes do you think you're making daily?
Right now we're making between 120 and 150 a day.
But in the past few years, Castile's customers have started craving a savory king cake, one that replaces icing and sprinkles with pork and meat sauce. Castile's been perfecting the recipe for 5 years, and now he's got it down to a science, and he was more than happy to show me how to make it. First, you start with your dough. Like Castile said earlier, he gets in extra early, just to get the dough ready for the day. He cuts it and shapes it into an oval, and then it's time to add the boudin and pepper jack cheese. You want to try to spread everything evenly.
So we got one down. So now what do we do?
And then we'll let this rise. I'll put it in a proofer here. Let it rise for about 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Right?
Okay.
And then we'll bake it.
Baking takes just about 18 minutes. While the cake is slowly browning in the oven, Castile takes out the rest of his ingredients. That's butter, Cajun pepper jelly, cane syrup, and bacon. Lots of bacon.
So why savory king cake instead of just the regular stereotypical sweet king cake that everybody eats?
So there was a place called Twins, and they just decided that it was a meat market and they wanted to get in on the king cake game. So they started it. It went viral. My wife called me up and said, "Have you seen the Boudin King Cake?" I said, "Yes." She said, "I think we need to do it. Nobody's doing it in Baton Rouge."
The original savory king cake was developed by Robert Carricker in 2015 and baked by the Gilbo twins in Lafayette. Castile uses their recipe as the blueprint for his.
We'll put it on a board here. Right there. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna brush butter all over it.
There's no such thing as too much butter.
That's right.
Is this good or any more?
That's perfect.
All right.
Perfect. And then, so next what we do is we take our pepper jelly right here.
The next step is bacon, all around. And finally,
After that, this is our cane syrup.
Oh.
That just drizzles on there. I like to drizzle it on the bacon. Holds it on there real well.
the final touch is the porcelain baby. Savory or not, no king cake is complete without it.